It's good to reunite and have you back on the podcast today. How you doing?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
I said, oh, did you not hear me? I said, it's because the mic's here. Yeah, it's good to have you back on the podcast today and to reunite with you again.
Yeah, okay. So you want me to introduce myself again?
Yeah. No, it's cool.
Okay, great. So I'm Javaria Malik and I am mindset and relationship coach. I help my clients and take them on a healing journey, especially after the breakup.
Mm. Yeah, no, I think it's really great work what you do, and I think it's really key that people are able to, work on themselves and to heal themselves through that process. Through relationships and after if they break up as well.
Usually people don't take the broken heart so seriously. They say that, okay, if somebody has a broken heart, if somebody's going through the trauma, hey, come on, it's been 1 month, it's been 10 days, now it's time to move on. But the person feeling that heartbreak, I believe that it's not a physical pain, but that feeling in your ribs, the strength which you lose in your ribs, it's like, uncontrollable and it really hurts. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think, like you said, yeah, it does kind of manifest itself as like a physical pain, and it isn't the nicest thing in the world. It's probably one of the most difficult things that I've personally experienced, and I think, as you said, it's probably how you deal with that. And well, what would you say is a good way of kind of dealing with that and kind of healing? Would you say?
For me, like if I talk about my experience, that how I healed was, I never went alone anywhere, though I'm living alone and independently in Dubai. But then it was like, how do I go alone? I was in long distance relationship.
Yeah.
But then you need to take that step that, okay, this person is now not with you. Of course, you're going to cry. You're going to message them. You're going to see the text again and again, over again. Okay, maybe, he might or she might reply to you back. You just need to take this step and go out. I know you won't feel like going out. And when I take my clients on a healing journey, I first ask them that you need to start with being grateful. So they're like, how can I be grateful? That person broke my heart and you're saying to be grateful? Because you need to find that experience. You need to find something good in that heartbreak. If I talk about my heartbreak, now, of course, I do miss that person, but that doesn't mean I want to go back to him. That pain has made me so strong that I know that nobody can break my heart now. And one of the interesting things, when I take my clients on this healing journey, I tell them that you have to forgive that person. And what if I tell you that it's your mistake? It's not their mistake. I know one of my clients from Pakistan, he said that, how can you say that it's my mistake, it's not theirs mistake? Because we are not setting boundaries. We are allowing ourselves and we are giving them the chance to treat as they want to treat us. We are 24 hours available for them. And they're going to come treat us as a doormat, and they're going to just say sorry. And they know that this person is never going to leave me. So they will treat you as they wanted you, knowing that this person is never going to leave us. So here I say that, the mistake is we need to set boundaries. We need to set priorities. We need to have our self-worth, our values.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, and I think they're really good points. And the fact that in relationships, it's that duality and that balance, and as you said, not being a doormat or treated a certain way, and having those boundaries in place. And I think, like, it's what you give out, you expect back. In my mind, if I'm in a relationship, it's like if I'm, what I give out, I like to think, that people are going to give that back. It's that balance. And I think a lot of the time we can get kind of caught in that loop. And if we're experiencing certain things, we can sometimes think that oh, it's going to get better, it's going to change. And then if you're not careful, you're caught in that loop going round in circles and nothing's changing, and you're just, I think that's the thing in relationships. Everyone has a different experience, don't they? Everyone has
Yeah,
their own
because
way.
I believe that we are in that comfort zone. That's also our comfort zone, that we are being clinged to that person, that we just want this person no matter what we're going through.
Yeah. And I think as well, sometimes, do you think people probably stay in relationships sometimes because they're worried about not being able to find anyone else and these kind of things that kind of hold them back? You know, especially.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because they are insecure. And why they are insecure is because of the previous things happened to them. Maybe someone in past relationship, maybe in school, maybe in colleges, maybe their parents have said something that, you know what, there is something wrong in you, you're never gonna get someone. Or maybe, you know, at growing age, your girlfriend or your boyfriend has said that to you, that this thing has stuck in your mind, and you're trying to impress them. I'll say either you try to impress them, or just showing more extra care to them, that okay, I'm going to take more care of this person and they won't leave me. But the other person has to accept for who you are. They need to, because relationship is a two-way street. You can't pour from an empty cup over and over again.
That's a really good point. And I think, as you said, it's a two-way street, and people sometimes, like you said, they don't accept that person for who they are. And I mean, I've definitely been there, and you have to accept that person for who they are. And if they're, going to change, that's got to, ultimately come from them, hasn't it? You can't force someone to change or expect someone to be a certain way, or to be probably how you are as a, how you are as a person, because everyone's different.
Yeah,
And I think, as you
absolutely.
said, it's key.
I have talked to a lot of people with this relationship issue, and in most cases, the relationship is a one-way street in terms for them. Either at one side, the girl is doing more, either on the other side, the guy is doing more. It's not that, because the other person knows, as I said before, that the other person knows no matter what we're going to do to them, they won't leave. Now, here we need to set up priorities, that even in relationship, if I tell you about my experience, I was being disrespected. I was just putting all over again and giving them, 3 times a chance. But all I was getting was disrespect. But still, I was being very kind in texting that person. Of course, that person knew that this girl is never going to leave me. And I had a fear that I can't live alone, and nobody is going to marry me due to certain condition. So that was the insecurity which I had. And that insecurity grew because people from my relatives or from my school said something which I just kept that in my mind, and I believed that. And that was my belief. Now, recently I changed my beliefs.
Yeah, I agree, and I think, like you said, that can happen sometimes, can't it? Where people have certain beliefs and they carry those beliefs sometimes into the relationship, and then it kind of multiplies and grows, and we're not aware of that at the time. And I think a lot of the time as well, I think sometimes, like, you can only give a person so many chances. Sometimes, I mean, I've met people and spoken to people where their partner has, cheated on them or done something really bad, and it's gone one way to the other, where it's made the relationship stronger, and they've learned things about themselves and each other, and they've ended up getting back together and things like that. So I mean, it's crazy how it can work out sometimes. I'm not saying that shouldn't have to happen for something that, to
I was
get a
there
relationship
at
strong.
one point,
Yeah.
I was there. I was hoping that the thing's going to get work. I started reading about law of attraction, that how to get your ex back in 3 days.
Yeah.
I started doing everything. Then, you know, I started to knowing myself. I knew that what my worth is, what I deserve, what my value is, that I'm not something who is available for everyone. And then I'm like,
Mm,
no, boom, girl, you have to do something really big. And there is something else, you know, for you in the store.
mm. Yeah. No, I agree. And I really think that's a great way to kind of see it, because I think everything's for a reason, isn't it? And it's all that experience that builds on you as a person. And there's always something else that's, you know, of a higher good for you. And I think you've got to notice those patterns, haven't you? You've got to put in that work and work on yourself a bit to realize what it is that you want. Because sometimes, I mean, I've been caught up in patterns where I might be talking to certain people, and you know, I recognize, oh, you know, that's, you know, I don't need to do that anymore, because I'm an empath, and
Mhm.
sometimes I might attract certain people into my life or relationships, and I noticed that pattern, I think, after my last relationship. And everyone has their own thing going on, but it's, you know, as an empath, it's not your job to kind of be the person who, you know, is trying to
But the
fix that.
empaths, what they do is they will treat the other, they'll be very humble. I mean, for me, I'm an empath and I can't see someone
Mm,
crying. Even
yeah,
that person is faking in front of me, I'll say, oh my God, there is something, you know, wrong with that person.
yeah,
So I need to fix that.
yeah, yeah. That's it. Yeah, there's a lot of work and self awareness that comes into play, isn't there? I think in relationships, and I think you've got to be happy at the end of the day, haven't you? And it can be difficult because, as you said, sometimes people have. I mean, you must see in your clients, people have certain relationships that don't work out, and sometimes you can take belief systems and things like that from that relationship into your, you know, your future, and think, oh, I'm not good enough, or you know, whatever it may be. Do you think?
And you know, sometimes you are in a relationship where you know that you're married to that person and you know that this person is toxic for me, but you can't leave the relationship because your parents are forcing you to stay in that relationship. So that is really challenging.
Mm,
But what I think is, of course, it depends on your mental strength. I know it's not easy, but then at least you need to keep in mind that you have two choices, either to stay with that person or then you can just choose the other choice. I'm not saying you to leave, but maybe if you haven't talked with each other, try to set that or have a solution. Keep your focus on, you know, that problem solving thing. Or if you think that things aren't working out, then it's okay. There is no harm to get away from that toxic relationship because you have an amazing life ahead. Wish them well, wish yourself well, and move on.
mm.
I'll again say that I know it's not easy, it's challenging, but you have to take steps.
Yeah, that's a really great point you made as well. With both of those things, like, you know, different cultures and traditions and things like that. There are definitely pressures there. As you said, like parents. I mean, you know, parents may be saying, "Oh, you know, you should stay in that relationship or marry, you know, marriage or whatever it is," you know, because that's what they know, and that's the way it is, and that can definitely be difficult. And I think, as you said, having that forgiveness for that other person as well, and wishing them well,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that was definitely something for me I had to really learn to do, and you know, not to, because you're carrying that. There's no point carrying that kind of weight on your
Yeah,
shoulders.
because sometimes people think that forgiveness is condoning their behavior, their bad behavior. But forgiveness isn't that you are condoning their bad behavior. We agree. You just need to leave that to whatever you believe, either it's God, universe, or I
Mm,
do believe in karma. It's better to
mm,
leave because what you have done will come back to you, either it's good or bad. So you
mm.
need to release that thing because holding is giving you much more pain. Can you put the coal in your hand and hold for a long
Mm.
time, a hot coal?
No chance.
You're going to just,
No.
you know, you're just going to throw it. But that's the thing which we are doing with the relationship. It's better to, let go. Of course, it will take time. So with the healing, you need to acknowledge that pain. I know that you might lay down in bed all day and cry, but then you need to acknowledge the pain. So if you won't acknowledge the pain, the first step of healing is that allow yourself to acknowledge that pain.
Yeah, that's it. And it's going into that pain and healing and just taking day by day, isn't it? And I think the universe does definitely, work and challenge you. And I think it's that calm, as you mentioned, because I remember like recently I hadn't seen my ex for like quite a long time. And then I was in a bookstore, and before I went into the bookstore, she walked straight past me. And I was like, okay. And then I ended up being in the bookstore, and I, I don't know if it's just coincidence or if she was doing something else, but she ended up coming into the bookstore with her friend later on and said hello. And part of me felt like not saying anything and just ignoring her. Then, as I said, like you said, with a hot cold, I was like, I'm going to rise above this. Just say hello back. Okay, yeah, hello. Move on. And part of me felt better, but it felt strange, if that makes sense. I was like, I've not done this before. That usually it's cheers, bye, But I thought, rise above
That's what
it.
I asked myself, that what if I cross my ex? I don't know what I'm going to do. So, I'm really loving that, what you are telling me. It's amazing.
Yeah. No.
So then what happened?
No, I just said hello, and then she said hello, and then she went that way, and I just went, different direction and read a book, and that was it. But I mean, other ex girlfriends, it might be a different story. That might not happen, But I think it's a funny one. I mean, I think if you can do that and just say, hi, or it has to be mutual, as you said. I think, if that makes sense, that other person's got to be willing to say hello or hope you're okay.
After my breakup, like in COVID, I was in Pakistan. My ex texted me. I replied with that excitement because I know myself. Ampits were giving. And then I was like, "Don't text me because you're gonna text me. I can't be bad. I can't be rude to you because that's me." I don't want to hurt you. It's okay if you have hurt me, but I can't be rude to you. So it's better not to text me. Let me move on, because when you text me, I can't ignore your message. I have to reply to you because that's in my mind, that I can't be rude to that person. So it's better that don't come back and go, so that I can easily move on. People say to block your ex. I never blocked my ex. In fact, he blocked me. Now, I said that I need to be that mature. I need to challenge myself that it's on you. Don't go and stalk that person, how strong you are. I made myself that much strong that he was on my list then. And I never thought, of course, it was one day at a time, slowly. I won't say that all of a sudden I did that. It took time. And now he followed me again on my Instagram. He is following me these days. And I'm like, why the hell are you following me? And I'm like, okay, I don't even care now.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I think with social media and blocking and not blocking, I think it's a very personal thing. I think each person has their own way of dealing with that side of things. I mean, there was some. I mean, there's an ex-girlfriend I had when I was like 18, and we're on each other's Instagram and things like that. There's just mutuality. There's no negativity or anything. It's like normal. And yeah, some of us, like, there's just blocking. Just no contact whatsoever. And I think you just have to kind of respect how people deal with stuff. If they want to do that, then let them do that.
With all my boyfriends, it's like no contacting. Yeah, but one of my ex, I started dating at the age of 16. So I'm friends with him. He still
Yeah.
supports me, and we don't have that kind of feelings with each other. But then,
Yeah.
he's a very good friend of mine now.
That's it. I think if you can find like a mutual basis where you're just friends and it's fine, then I think that's nice. If you can come to that resolve. I
Absolutely.
mean, I think a lot of people nowadays don't do that. That I've spoken to. There are people out there who do. I know people who speak to ex girlfriends or boyfriends and their friends. But I think a lot of people just literally block, don't go there kind of thing. And I think for me, if I break up, I have to put that, there's, like I said, the boundaries. You put those boundaries in place where you have that distance, you don't talk to them, and you kind of have, for me, I have to do that.
I think it depends about that, how much connection you have with that other person, the intensity, in order to give yourself more time to be friends with them again.
Yeah.
Do you think that?
Yeah, that's something that I that's the place that I'm at now. I'd rather be on a mutual basis with them and try and find that common ground. And sometimes I'll try reaching out to some of the past, and they just block you again or whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool. You do what you got to do. I've moved forward. I've moved on. If you're still that way, then fair dues. But I think relationships in life are like, we're constantly learning and evolving, aren't we? I think as we go along, and I've spoken to people who, a lot older, and they're still figuring it out. And I think, as you said, it's if you meet the right one, it just kind of must click. People always say clicks. You just know.
But sometimes it's really challenging to meet the right one, because now after this breakup, it's been 1.5 years. In this, again, as I told you, I was learning to live alone. But in this year, I met another guy in between this, and he was doing love bombing, everything which I was dreaming of. That okay, that's the perfect guy. So he was again the dash hole, I'll say. so, so what he did was he was very manipulative. He was narcissist. What I was thinking was that he is so nice to me, but then he showed me his colors. I don't consider him my boyfriend now, because that was a relationship which just lasted for like 3 months. And but that person gave me a lot of mental and emotional trauma. Because relationship with the narcissist is really, it's very, very tragic.
Yeah, I've definitely experienced that. I've definitely
with the narcissist.
experienced.
So of course
Yeah.
you know that.
Yeah, I was with somebody who was like that for 3.5 years, and yeah, you kind of lose the sense of yourself. For me, I couldn't almost like do anything for myself,
Yeah, I
and
got it.
I mean, it's a whole long story, but there were
So
different
it would
things.
be about that person. It's only about that person.
Yeah, and even when I did sign up to my coaching course, it was like, why are you doing that, kind of thing. And
yeah, absolutely, I can relate that thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the time, like I kind of, for the first year, it was fine, and then over time, I started to kind of notice things. But then I was noticing things, but kind of not really seeing it. I was choosing not to see it, and I was choosing to think, oh, things are going to change. And we'd have conversations, and things would be okay, after those conversations for a temporary amount of time, and then it'd be back to normal, and then it would change back to normal. But I remember, yeah, one time, having a shower and getting ready, and then the person having a go at me because I went and had a shower for however long, and I'm not okay because you're not spending time with me and all this. And I was like, yeah, something's not right here. But yeah, but I think, as you said, from those experiences, you learn a lot, and you can take that forward to.
But what if that narcissist is a life coach? Then, I was like, oh my God, narcissist, and he is a life coach.
Yeah.
And that was really something which I couldn't digest, that you are playing with other people's life just for the money.
Yeah, Yeah, that's not the right way to go about things, is it? I think, you know, if you're manipulating people and you're using that to do that, yeah, that's can be confusing, can't it? I mean, you saying that's making me think like, what?
Yeah, you can't even believe this took me, I don't know how many months to digest that. I was crying and I was just thinking that what just happened with me? And I
Mm,
couldn't even digest that thing. A narcissist, I mean, the person who is manipulating me, saying and belittling me, saying bad things about me is a coach.
mm. Well, it's like a corrupt police officer, isn't it? You got a police
Yeah,
officer who's meant to
exactly.
be enforcing the law, but he's like,
Absolutely. At that time, it didn't came into my mind, but that's something really good which you pointed out.
mm. Yeah, it's a really funny one, isn't it? But the deep down, I think it's their own needs, isn't it? And that kind of negative driving force in them, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I find it interesting, you know, like people and how, you know, how we think and relationships, and yeah, I think, you know, I'm really happy for people who found someone who they have got it clicked with. I mean, kind of fixed with. But I think, you know, arguments happen and things like that, and that's sometimes happens in relationships or whatever relationship, and that's kind of normal. But I think it's where that kind of common ground where you can come back. You know, you can have an argument. You know, you learn from it. You communicate, and you kind of come back to each other, and that's kind of, I think, that communication side of it. You must see, you know, talk to your clients about that. You know, communication I've learned is so vital and key,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
not texting or, you know, whatever over text, because I mean it's a journey, it's a
And
lesson, it's a
even that the
process.
person who is breaking up needs to confront as well. If you're
Mm,
breaking up, then the other person is looking for the answers. So it's better if you're going to break up, don't break on text because it's really, really traumatic.
mm,
That's more traumatic than, I guess, being physical hurt. The emotional hurt is really, really, really tragic. So it's better that if you guys can, confront each other.
yeah,
People usually don't confront.
yeah, yeah. I think social media, you know, has a thing with it as well. Like in people can misinterpret things. Um, I think if somebody, you know, like social media has a lot to say. Would you say in relationships? Because if someone likes a certain picture or comments on something, um, sometimes people get triggered because they're like, "Why are you liking that person's picture?" Um,
And then you're going to check them online, then on Instagram, okay, it's been so long, they're online, but they're not replying you and they're replying the other person.
yeah,
So social media is playing wonders with our mind.
yeah. But I think ultimately, like, you have to trust, don't you? I think it's that trust and that communication that it's like in a relationship. There's a foundations, like, you know, the concrete blocks that hold it in place. You know, that trust and I think communication are definitely key. And I think if someone can't communicate effectively and they're insecure about trust, then it makes that wobble, if that makes it for me.
Yeah, absolutely. The understanding must be there. If
Mm,
if you guys have mutual understanding, of course you're going to communicate. Of course there's going to be loyalty and there's going to be respect and value.
mm. What do you think, in terms of like online dating and things like that? Do you think there are certain kind of challenges with that? Would you say? I mean, like online dating, because people can sometimes pretend to be someone that they're not, and I think that's something that, I mean, with COVID especially, it's not. It's more in dating. It's very difficult for me to. I mean, for me, I live in like an isolated area, and
Mhm.
it's COVID and we're in a lockdown, so you know it's kind of changed the dynamics. I think for dating at the minute and how we date, if that makes sense. I mean, would
I know that what you're talking about because I have been there as well.
yeah.
Dating the person on social media and then meeting them in real life, it's totally different.
Mm,
So I believe that you don't need to rush. why you are rushing. I mean, what's the point of being rushing in a relationship? So it's better to give yourself time to make you, you both understand about each other, and then let's go with the flow and make things work. Because obviously in few months you will get to know more about each other.
Yeah.
So whenever you are rushing, you're going to end up, of course, you're going to end up with a broken heart.
Yeah. No, it's true. That's it. I think a lot of the time people sometimes feel like they need to be. Some people don't like being single. They they feel like they need to be in a relationship. But I think you have to get to know yourself and have that good relationship with yourself to then kind of have that kind of good relationship with someone else. Because it's like if you're constantly, like you said, rushing, don't want to be by myself, don't want to be single, I need to be with someone else, you're probably going to just keep
because
on.
you are rebounding yourself into the relationship. For me, like it's been 1.5 years now I'm single, and now sometimes I forget that how to date. Do I need to date or not? But how do I need to date? And I'm like, okay, I know what are my priorities, what are my boundaries. So of course now the connection won't match if somebody is here for just to hang out with me.
Yeah, that's it. I think like you said, you have to have those kind of priorities and those boundaries, and kind of like your values, and know what you want, to kind of have that time to think about it and learn from whatever happens. I think I can definitely relate to that. I've been single for like, I'm trying to think, about a year probably. I think it must be a year, and it's but I think like I've had that time to think about things and kind of become more connected with myself, as you said, because if it's like after a couple of months you're like, oh, I just want to get into another relationship, and it's like, well, no, hang on a sec, I'm gonna get to know myself and figure it out. And I think that takes a lot of discipline, but it's possible, and I think that's definitely more worthwhile in the long run when you kind of know what it is that you want, and you're not just jumping into something for the hell of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, sometimes you feel it when you are single for a long time, or maybe a year or more than that, you feel like that, okay, now maybe it's time to date. For me, I wasn't keeping things in balance. When I was dating a guy, I was just dating him. I was his all. I was not focusing on my work. But that's the thing as well. You need to keep everything in balance. Your relationship with that person, your relationship with your friends, your family, and your work.
Yeah, that's it. It's that fine balance, isn't it?
Because if
everything.
That person is texting you that, oh, hey, okay, on their time preference, that let's meet. So if you are busy, tell them that you are busy. You can't meet them today. Just have, with the mutual understanding, you can decide another date. Or if you're going with your friends, if that person says they don't like it, you need to tell them that your place is something else. Of course, I value you, I respect you, but that is my life as well. You don't need to compromise on that, your personal life with your friends.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I think that's a really great point. And it's that, like I said, that balance and understanding, accepting that person if they need to do X, Y, Z. And sometimes I find that sometimes people don't do that. From personal experience, people sometimes want their needs met, and that gets involved. Okay, we've all got needs. I understand that. I get that we all got needs, but it's respecting that other person's needs as well, and you're not expecting a text at a certain time, or these kind of the space and boundaries, because it just puts on that other person, and you feel drained, and it just has like a domino effect, doesn't it? Because it's not how it should work. It's not like, I think sometimes people go into relationships with these demands of the other person, that it's your job to kind of make me happy, or you put on them, like you have to kind of ultimately make yourself happy first, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah. And you need to communicate very nicely that, okay, if you're busy, you can text them that, okay, I'll get back to you later because I'm in a meeting and then I have a word. Because that's how the trust is going to build in relationship.
Mm.
Like it's on both side.
That's it. And I think they have to be kind of understand where you're coming from and what you're doing as well. Like if you're like, I mean, I definitely experienced this when I used to work in hotels and restaurants, and it's like people who work Monday to Friday. When you say I've got a split shift or I'm working on Saturday because it's not like a normal job, and sometimes people are like, "What? You so you don't want to see me?" And it's like, "Well, no, it's not. It's it's sometimes people have to see it from your perspective and kind of trust in what you're doing. And like if you're setting up your own business or these time constraints, accept what you're doing and things like that, and support you in that ultimately as well.
Absolutely. I think support is really, really very, the key in the relationship. It's not
Mm,
about, one person only. It's about, because we all are going through different struggles in our life. Either it's your intimate relationship, either it's your friends. You need to support each other. Because I know a
mm,
lot of friends even as well, they won't give you time, saying that, we have different struggles and different pain going through in our life. But what if somebody doesn't share with you? Maybe they have struggles as well. Not
mm,
maybe, they must have going through with these all the struggles in their life. So it's better to communicate and to support each other.
mm. Yeah, I think that's really key. That support and that communication, and you understand where that person's at, and trying to be in the here and now. For me, I've made mistakes in the past where I've probably not been so much in the moment because I've been worried about saying something and the outcome of it. So then a week later, I brought it up, and then if something's gone on, but there's no good like a
Mhm.
week or two later. And I think we can all do that sometimes. But I remember like it happening to me. And I'd be like, it's 2 weeks ago. Are you bringing it up now? um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think like trying to be more present in the moment and communicating if something's going on. It's a
Mhm.
constant process and journey, isn't it?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I mean, I think that, of course, we are going to make mistakes. That's what makes us human. But then don't repeat those mistakes again and again. In my case, I was just repeating like maybe few thousand times was
yeah,
repeating the mistake.
yeah, yeah. That's a really good point as well. Like kind of being aware of the mistakes you made and correcting that by doing different things. Yeah, no, that's definitely key. And I think people can be creatures. We can be creatures of habit, and we can. Yeah, but no, that's definitely the first step, isn't it? Being aware
Yeah,
of your
absolutely.
mistakes
And
and where you're
one
going.
more point I would like to add, while,
Mm,
when you are in a healing process, what you need to do is, what I did was I wrote the name of all my close people, and the name of my ex-boyfriend was there as well. And then I started rating them out of 10. And then I said that why I have given them these points.
mm,
And what am I putting the efforts in terms of relationship, and what the other person is putting. So I think if you're going to write down your feelings in your journal, and you'll be very much clear when you're going to reflect that what's wrong in a relationship, that's going to help you to move on in your relationship.
mm. Yeah,
I mean,
no,
I
that's a really
still
good.
have that journal, and I was looking, I gave my, ex-boyfriend 6 out of 10, and I said that why 6? If you ask me today, I'm going to give him 2. So
it's
yeah, so I need
it's
to refill that journal.
yeah, it's a good strategy. I mean, I think everyone has their own strategy, don't they? And I think that's a great way of doing it. Kind of looking at, like you said, the people close to you, people that you've probably have relationships with, and looking at those kind of standards, isn't it? Really, for what you kind of like want in your life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and I was just thinking, like, have you? I usually ask people like about books. Have you read any books recently? Or any favorite books you've read? Or
Right now, these days, I am reading The Power of Now. And
nice.
before that, in terms of, you talk about, healing, then I read about Louise Hay. She helped me in terms of healing. I had lots of book about breakups, but what I have just read one of the book on breakup. Else it was because I was not in that state of reading that.
Yeah.
So I just fixed myself and some of course, the podcast, some
Yeah.
YouTube videos related to heartbreaks. So that's how I moved on.
Yeah.
But recently, what I'm reading is about the power of now. It's really seems like really amazing book up till now.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think it's good that you kind of use those things to help you as well. And I think it's so key to, we live in a world now where you can find so much good kind of content on the internet and books as well to help you through things. And I haven't read that book, but I've read a little bit, but I've heard good things about it. It's and I think it's good because like we need to be more present, with a lot of technology and everything's
I really
moving.
like the thing about that book is the author says that of course we all have right now. You have problems in your life as well, same as me. But right now at this point, whatever the time is over there, do you have a problem?
No, not at all.
So that's the power of now, that we are either focusing on future or we are focusing on the dwelling on the past.
Yeah, no, it's powerful, isn't it? It's powerful when
that's amazing.
When you think of it, and I think you take it. I think you feel more at ease and you take in a lot more when you're in the now. Like I know from when I had anxiety in the past, and I was working in jobs, and there's so much going on, and you're thinking about the future and all these worries, and it's more powerful being in the now because you're more aware and you feel more grounded as well. So I mean, there's a lot of benefits to it, and I think a lot of people should be reading books like that as well. And where can people find you on social media again? And like your website and stuff?
I have an Instagram page that's mindcoach_Javaria Malik, and on Facebook it's Javaria Malik.
No, that's awesome. And but no, Javaria, it's been a pleasure having you back on the podcast again, and I've really enjoyed the conversation.
It was amazing talking to you as well and listening to your experiences too.
Yeah, no, thank you. I really
Especially
appreciate it.
When you crossed your girlfriend, that's really amazing.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and for anyone who's listening or can take something from this, I think it's really nice that we can share our experiences and help one another and help other people as well at the same time. And I wish you continue success in what you're doing. I think you're doing a great job, and it's really nice you wanting to help other people.
Same for you as well.
No, thank you, Jira. It really means a lot, and I hope you have a great day and week ahead.
You too. Bye-bye. Thank you.
See you soon. You're welcome. See you soon.